Good morning, everyone. I believe you can all hear me. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so welcome to today's edition of Morning Market Review. Uh, Within few minutes, we just want for improved participation. After some times now, would definitely start the class. All right, thank you. All right, so it seems the class would start now. We are actually hoping that a lot of people would actually join us so that we would not have to go over the class again and again. But of course, we just have to start from somewhere. And by 8:10 exactly on dot, I would begin the class. By 8:10 exactly on dot, I'll begin the class. All right. All right, so I start the class. I start the class. Good morning, everyone. If you can hear me, just send me a message and please do let me know if you can hear me. Send me a message and please do let me know. If you can hear me, just send the message. All right, good. I can actually see some good. All right, so welcome to today's edition of Money Market Review. And let me say happy new month. Happy new month. Welcome to December. This will be our best month when it comes to trading. All right. So let me share my screen so that we can actually see what the market has for us for today. Let me share my screen. All right. So I'm going to be starting today with what we have on Forex Factory. I'm going to be starting today with what we have on Forex Factory. And from Forex Factory, which is actually more of a leading indicator for all the news, which would definitely come out of the financial system or the economic world. Earlier as of today, we had unemployment rate, for the Japanese yen, and one of the data which did came out suggested that there is an easing in terms of unemployment in this particular region. And if you can actually see what we have here, you definitely see that the market is actually it came out positive for them. Before now, it happens to be 2.6, which actually tells us that presently there is a reduction in what the unemployment rate at that region, what it is. So we can actually see a reduction. We can see a reduction. All right, then we had their capital spending as well as final manufacturing PMI, coupled with um Australian dollars. We have their own commodity prices, which came in negative at the start of today. Sorry, it came in positive. Commodity prices actually came in positive at the start of today. All right. Then for 8 a.m., which is what we just did add some few moments ago, that's called nationwide HPI. Nationwide HPI. And for HPI, it says change in the selling price of homes with mortgages backed by nationwide. So it's more or less like housing starts for other regions. Housing starts. That's what it actually do means. By 8:45, the eurozone is going to be coming up with French government budget balance. French government budget balance. All right. And when we talk about budget balance, that is how much you are left to actually run the business with the business of government with, pending when a new budget is going to be made, maybe for the new year coming in on board. Then CHF is going to be having their own GDP, the quarterly one, and it's going to be by 9 a.m. And for USD, we are going to be having a lot of Federal Committee, Open Market Committee member speaking for today. One is going to be speaking by 9 o'clock, and aside the one that is going to be speaking by 9 o'clock. All right. We also have another one that is going to be speaking by 4 p.m. All right. Another Federal Open Market Committee member is going to be speaking by 4 p.m. Aside the one that is going to be speaking by 4 p.m., we also have another one, which is Federal Chairman Powell is going to be speaking by 5 p.m. And this particular speaking would still extend down to 8 p.m. All right. And by 8 p.m., it's going to be Powell as well as Cook speaking at this particular time, which we did expected that. I believe this would make the dollar stronger at the end of today. Possibly it might recover what it had lost during the course of the week. Whatever it has lost during the course of the week, we might actually see it getting to at least recover all with some of this news that are actually slated for the USD for today. Then also, for GBP, we have their own final manufacturing PMI. So as the Eurozone 2, we are going to be having their own final manufacturing PMI also. Final manufacturing PMI also. All right. Then aside that, for the Canadian dollar, we are going to be having one of the major news, which is going to be by 2:30. One of the major news, which is going to be by 2:30. And for this particular news, we are talking about no other news than unemployment rates as well as employment change. Unemployment rates as well as employment change. And when we talk about unemployment change, it tells us about a lot of people that have actually filed. Unemployment rate tells us about how many people are actually jobless at the moment. And for employment change, for people who actually who are actually underpaid, people who are actually underpaid and are actually changing their own currency. So for people, is that for somebody, I think I saw somebody's chat asking what is CNY. It's talking about Chinese yuan, Chinese yuan, Chinese yuan. All right, that's Chinese currency, Chinese own currency. So the symbol is actually represented by NY. Then for somebody who is saying he cannot hear, kindly check your own audio system. I believe every other person can hear me, at least from the feedbacks I've actually gotten so far. All right. So moving on, we also have some news, which is actually more of construction spending. That's from the 4 o'clock from USD. Then also world's total vehicle sales. This is just to tell us about how many vehicle was actually sold during this particular period. All this we have an effect on what we did expect for the market for today. All right, it will have an effect on what we should expect for the market for today. All right, so let's go back to our chart and see different entries as well as good positions which individuals can actually take advantage of, at least for today. All right, so for today, some of the entries which would actually be looking out for. Firstly, let's go to what we have on dollar index. Dollar index for today. Now, for dollar index is actually a compendium of what the dollar is actually doing part time, and it tells us the viability of the dollar. So, for most part of what we've had for this particular week, would see that the dollar started roughly, all right, it started roughly by crash landing from this particular moment on Monday. Yes, it did crash from price level 103.441 on Monday, getting down to price level 102.426 on Wednesday. But from that same Wednesday, there was more like a gradual increase in what the dollar can actually do. There was more of a gradual increase in what the dollar can actually do. And for some of these things that what the dollar. So for some of these things, I believe you can hear me now. So for some of these things that actually did project what the dollar would do, one, we actually have different news suggesting that dollar gained as investors began to actually take profit on some of their own goods. So they're actually taking profit. That's one. Two, US economy is actually showing signs of weakness, and of course that can actually seen on why it actually did fell from Monday, even not really Monday, from last week. It has actually been falling from last week, so it's actually showing signs of economic weakness. Then aside that too, the Feds actually did came and said that they actually done raising interest rates. They actually done raising interest rates. Then when it comes to the news which did came out yesterday for people who are actually in the market, when immediately we had news about these jobless claims, you can actually see that jobless claims actually did rise so much. And for the fact that jobless claims did rise so much, it didn't really give us so much as to what the viability of the dollar. But at the other end of it too, of course, just like we said, it is actually beginning to gain strength, and some of this strength which is beginning to gain is due to the fact that the Fed have actually come to say that there are no more increasing interest rate, that at least for the moment it's still going to be like this. And if you tend to look at analysis as to what has actually been happening from 2019 down to this particular moment, you carefully notice that starting from how do I put this now? You carefully notice that starting from 2019, where we had COVID-19, down to this particular moment, whenever you check what is happening to dollar, mostly around September, October, November, December, you'd always see that the dollar is always very, very weak. You always see that it's always very, very weak. So for today, taking an entry position, we might decide to enter for a buy if price gets to price level 103.312 on dollar index. 103.312 can take a buy, and you take your profits at price level 103.401. We can decide to take a buy at price level 103.312, 103.312, while you take your profit at price level 103.401. Alternatively, if you are looking at selling the dollar index, meaning that the dollar is going to lose a lot of strength, we might want to do that at price level 103.192. That is if price breaks below what we're having for today. And one thing you come to see about the dollar index is that on Tuesday, there was more of a gap down. It did recovered. On Wednesday, there was more of a gap down. It did recovered. And today also, there is this gap down too. And we can actually see the market doing a kind of gradual recovery. So I actually did expect that before the close of business today, we would have seen a greater recovery, at least for it to actually do more of a buy. But peradventure, it goes more of a sell. You can actually take your entry at price level 103.192 and take your profit at price level 103.109. Price level 103.109. All right. Now, moving further, we'll go to Euro USD. Euro USD. Now, on Euro USD, what is happening on the chart actually shows that for the Eurozone, for most part of what we had from Monday down to at least the early hours of Wednesday, the Eurozone did got a lot of strength, all right, and it did got a lot of strength, and we can actually see that dollar is actually very, very weak too at this particular period. But why we had a shortfall in gold in Euro USD, and why it started selling, is due to the fact that one, euro weakens after soft eurozone inflation report. Now, when the eurozone inflation report was actually being given, there was a drop. So it actually tells us that before now, it happens to be 2.9%. But at the other end of it too, there was actually a drop in this inflation report, and this particular drop actually, they are looking at getting their own inflation down to 2% from this 2.9% that they have currently. So they are looking at getting down to 2%. And also, data coming from Germany suggested that inflation from Germany also did fell from it fell higher from 3.2, is now at 3.5, which is not really spring well for this particular economy at the moment. It's not spring well for them at the moment. Imagine inflation figures going from 3.2 and it's now getting to 3.5 at the moment. Then also, most importantly, CPI data that came from the Eurozone did so bad. CPI data that came from the Eurozone did so bad, and that was why we had this massive decline. Not really, or not necessarily that dollar did gain strength. As we go to other instruments, you get to see that dollar didn't really gain strength. So not necessarily that dollar did gain strength, but because CPI data that came from the Eurozone came out very bad, so that was why we had this sharp decline. So for today, for you to take advantage, you might to enter at if price breaks above the highest of today. Yes, on 1 hour time frame, enter if price breaks above the highest of today, then you can take your profit. You can enter at price level 1.09130. Price level 1.09130. Then take your profit at price level 1.09199. 1.09199. 1.09199. All right. Then also for the sell, you might want to enter for a sell. That is if price breaks above this present candle that is forming, below rather, this present candle that is forming, take a sell at price level 1.09039. 1.09039, while you take your profit at price level 1.08965. 1.08965. 1.08965. 1.08965. Can you hear me better? John Chinonso. Now take your buy at price level 1.09130. Then you take your profit at 1.09199. Then for a sell, take your profit at 1.09039. 1.09039. Then you can take your profit at price level 1.08965. 1.08965. All right. Now to GBP USD. Now, looking at GBP USD on 1 hour time frame too, you'd see that dollar index also did the sign of weakness was also extended to GBP USD, and from Monday down through to early hours of Wednesday, GBP actually did did better than them. And one of the few reasons why GBP is doing better even at the moment is that, one, we have issues or we have great news around optimism in UK on promising business outlook. There is actually great optimism in UK on promising business outlook. Then aside that too, a sale of GILTS pushed bond yields out higher. So when we talk about bond yields in this sector, is actually doing very fine, and that's why we are having the kind of push on GBP at the moment. Then also, inflation figures in the Great Britain actually showed signs of cooling down. And for some of our friends who are actually abroad, I was getting the news that they actually they are to increase interest rate. Sorry, not interest rate. Minimum wage rather in UK. starting from next year. So they are increasing their minimum wage. It shows signs that the government are actually doing very fine, and they also have the interest of the people at heart. So for today, in order for us to take advantage of the market, for a buy preference, you might want to enter for a buy at price level 1.26450. 1.26450. 1.26450. Then you can actually take your profit at the highest of today, where price was being rejected at that same 1.26569. 1.26569. 1.26569. Alternatively, you might want to enter for a sell at price level 1.26339. 1.26339 for yourself. Then on that note, you take your profit at price level 1.26240. 1.26240. 1.26240. All right. Now to USD JPY now. USD JPY. Now looking at USD JPY, still on that same 1 hour time frame, you'd see that the movement which USD had as a sign of their own recovery is nothing to actually write home about, because immediately at that movement, JPY was able to actually cover more like half of that particular movement. And for most part of the higher candles which we did add yesterday on USD, it didn't really make any sense on what JPY is. It didn't really make any sense on what on the algo of JPY, in the sense that the strength in USD is not compared to what if you measure it vis-a-vis what is happening to it via USD JPY, would see that it's not really more of a strength. All right, it's not really more of a strength, but it's no problem. When you look at what is happening on JPY zone, you'd see that one, there are actually different issues on Japanese yen. And one of the issues is that one, Asian currencies are actually mooted after a rebound in dollar. All right, Asian currencies actually mooted after a rebound in dollar. Aside this too, when we look at news coming out from China, we can actually see continued signs of economic weakness. Now, this continued sign of economic weakness is actually telling us to, or is actually giving to us. So, all right, then Japan, the Bank of Japan is actually saying that it would maintain some policies, and some of these policies. No. Hello. All right. So I believe you can hear me now. If you can hear me, let me know, please. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you, Dr. Ajimuda. All right. Now, good. So as I was saying, all these things actually paved way for sign of weakness both to the Japanese yen as well as the dollar index. So as regarding this, if you want to take an entry for today, enter for a buy at price level 148.272. 148.272. 148.272. Then you can actually take your profit at price level 148.452. 148.452. 148.452. Then alternatively, for a sell preference on this particular instrument, you might want to enter for a sell at price level 148.042. enter for a sell at price level 148.042. 148.042. Then you can take your profit at price level 147.862. 147.862. 147.862. All right. For USD CAD now. Starting from Monday down to this present moment, we can actually see that the Canadian dollar has been at least they have actually been cashing out and they've been operating at their own best level. And one of the reasons is due to the fact that presently oil was able to actually make it to one of the highest it has ever had for this particular week. Peradventure, let me say this particular month, oil made it to one of the highest it has ever had for this particular week. And this is due to the fact that we have growing concerns in the Middle East. And aside from the growing concerns which you've had in the Middle East, we also had issues as regards supply disruptions, as well as voluntary cuts in production of oil, of which this has actually did helped what it would amount to. So for today on USD CAD, you might want to enter for a buy that is at price level 1.35518. 1.35518. You can enter for a buy at price level 1.35518. Then you take your profit at price level 1.35615. 1.35615. Then alternatively, you might want to enter for a sell if price breaks below this verified support at price level 1.35398. Price level 1.35398. Then you can take your profit at price level 1.35327. 1.35327. 1.35327. Let me do NZD USD, then we'll move to other things. Now, for NZD USD, it works more like GBP USD. NZD USD works more like GBP USD. And for most part of this particular week, NZD USD has been one of the faithful, let me call it faithful instruments you as a person can actually trade on. And when it comes to volatility, as per what NZD USD does, it's actually very, very top notch. You always get to see movements on NZD USD. So for the market for NZD USD, you can actually see that the New Zealand bank, all right, National Bank of New Zealand, it's actually working on at least maintaining a stable interest rate. Is actually working on maintaining a stable interest rate. And aside the fact that it's working on maintaining a stable interest rate, we can actually see that dollar on its own end has not been doing very fine. Dollar has not been doing very fine, and that's why you see that at least for most part of the week, it has actually had to actually recover whatever movement whatever movement USD has actually had. Take for an example, for most part of yesterday, from this particular region, dollar actually had this movement up to this moment. But can you see that in just one candle, it was able to actually recover everything in just one candle? And for the most part of it, you can see that it has recovered it today. So before the close of business today, I still expect a full recovery. You can enter for a buy at price level 0.61579. Enter for a buy at price level 0.61579. 0.61579. 0.61579. Then you can take your profit at price level 0.61664. 0.61664. Then alternatively, you might want to enter for a sell at price level 0.61488. 0.61488. Then for the take profit, you can enter for your take profit at price level 0.61400. 0.61400. 0.61400. Oil. So for oil, just like I did said, for most part of what we had for this particular week, it has been more of the highest that oil has actually gotten to for most of this particular week. And aside that too, we can actually see that it's more like oil is doing fine. All right. So for oil, you'd see that one, some of the news that are actually affecting oil. Oil prices fell slightly as OPEC Plus cut supply. Oil prices fell slightly as OPEC Plus cut supply. Now, as of yesterday, they actually had a meeting, and they are looking at doing a production cut of about 2.2 million barrels per day in the first quarter of 2024. A production cut of about 2.2 million barrels per day in first quarter of 2024. That's one. Two is that we have China's concern over worsening demand. Now, when we talk about China, we talk about China in respect today being one of the biggest. When we talk about China, as I was saying, we talked about China as they've been one of the biggest, one of the users of oil. They requires oil in large quantities just to run their own industries. And for most part of the news that we've been having, there are actually concerns over worsening demand from China. And aside that too, China's biggest economic engines faced uphill battles of COVID-19. They are still, they've not yet recovered from what COVID-19 has actually done to them. They are yet to actually recover, and this is actually affecting what oil is doing too. So, and also when we look at oil inventories coming out from US, we can actually see an unexpected weekly build-up of US oil inventories. All these are actually telling us of the fact that oil is not being required in large quantities just as the way it's actually being produced. And just so you know, this particular market is all about demand and supply. So it's all about demand and supply, and this is actually having issues as to what how viable oil is. All right. So also worst economic conditions in Japan and the Eurozone actually brought about this sharp sell in oil. And another good news which we have is that Brazil is set to join OPEC Plus by January. Brazil is set to join OPEC Plus by January. So let's see how well this would affect the market. So for today, you might want to enter for a sell. You can enter for an instant sell. Enter for an instant sell on oil. Enter for an instant sell on oil while you take your profit at price level 80.17. Enter for an instant sell on oil while you take your profit at price level 80.17. 80.17. I believe you are in order. Enter for an instant sell on oil, then you can take your profit at price level 80.17. And for a buy on oil, you might want to enter for a buy at price level 80.77. Price level 80.77. Enter for a buy at price level 80.77. Then you can take your profit at price level 81.22. 81.22. 81.22. I believe you can actually get that. For oil, enter for a buy at price level 80.89. then you can take your profit at 81.22. All right, to gold now. Gold for everyone sending message that we should actually do gold. Here we are now. So for the start of the week, we can actually see that gold actually did increased in price. So gold did increase in price, and it did increase from price. It actually started off on Monday from this week support, and it actually did yes, and from this week support on Monday, and it actually did rose gradually. It rose gradually, getting to price level 2051.26. That was on Wednesday morning before plummeting down yesterday. And for some of the things which we have, or do I say for some of the news which we have on gold, one, gold actually did gained because dollar did collapse, all right, or because dollar has actually been weak. So that was one of the reasons. And we come to know in this particular market that gold is more of a safe haven, in the sense that once dollar index or the dollar is not doing very fine, you see people rushing to actually preserve their money and put it in gold, because of course they know the values will be there, whether intrinsic or the extrinsic value. All right, so for today on gold, we can actually enter for a buy. That is if price breaks above the highest of today at price level 2043.28. 2043.28, then we can take our profit around 2046.88. Enter for a buy at 2043.28, then you take your profit at 2046.88. And for a sell on gold, you can enter for a sell at price level 2038.09, 2038.09, and take your profit at price level 2034.36, 2038.09, then you can actually take your profit at 2034.36. All right, DE30. All right, so we can actually see that starting from Tuesday, D30 has been doing more of a buy. D30 has been doing more of a buy. And just like I said earlier on when I did analyzed on the Euro USD, taking at least the analysis further from what has actually been ravaging the Eurozone, we saw that when it comes to the Eurozone, we have Euro weakens after soft Eurozone inflation report. Euro weakens after soft Eurozone inflation report. So that was one of the reasons why Euro did weaken. And for the fact that Euro did weakened, you can actually saw that it gave rise to what DAX 30 would actually do. Then aside this too, the central bank president, that's Christine Lagarde, did announce the central bank monetary policy status. All right, and one of the few things which we did talked about earlier on, or what she did analyzed on, is to say what it did analyzed on is to say that one, how do I call it now? The inflation figure in that particular region is bad. The inflation in that particular region is bad. And for the fact that the inflation in that particular region is bad, it's not really giving a very good vibe for them to actually work on. It's not really giving a very good vibes for them to, progress further. And that's why you can actually see that that D30 did did very well. So at least for today also, I'm hoping that D30 would still continue with this and end above this particular region, and at least end on a bullish note for most part of what we would be having for today. So you can actually enter for a buy on D30, that's above the highest of today, for a safe buy. Today is Friday. So enter for a safe buy above the highest of today at price level 16344.3. 16344.3. 16344.3. Then you can take your profit at price level 16370.1. 16370.1. 16370.1. Alternatively, you can enter for a sell at price level 16296.2. 16296.2. 16296.2. 16296.2. Then you take your profit at price level 16269.4. 16269.4. 16269.4. Now, for US 100, I would use the same analysis for US 100, US 2000, as well as US 2, as well as how do I call it now? US 30. US 100, US 2000, as well as US 30 did benefited from the collapse in oil, just like we did saw on the chart. And you can actually see that starting from this particular area on Monday, it did at least rose up from Monday down to Wednesday. It did rose up, and this actually did give a rise to what the market is actually doing. At least a lot of people are actually able to actually did rejoice and take some cool cash from the market. But at the other end of it too, market did went bad yesterday. Market did went bad yesterday, and it went bad yesterday. We can actually see it at least plummeting and recovering even all it had actually did gained earlier on. Implemented and did more than everything it had actually did gained. That was for yesterday. And one of the reasons is that if you look at the unemployment claims that did came out yesterday, it did came out how do I call it now? The unemployment claims actually did came out negative, because we had a lot of people vying for unemployment claim. And also the core price index that was being released yesterday also did came out negative. The core price index did came out negative for the dollar. Yeah, it did came out negative for the dollar. But one of the few things that is actually how do I call it now? One of the few things that actually did made sure is that, one, when you look at data from China, because of course we know that most of the industries, they are actually looking for more US how do I call it now? Investors over there are looking for cheap place to actually produce some of their goods, of which most of these places are linked to China. And for the fact that we have a disappointing data coming from China every now and then, is actually not doing very fine. Though factory activity did expanded, but of course it's still not at that level which we want it to be. Then also another news which actually did supported what is happening is that Israel as well as Hamas agreed to extend truce to 8th day. Now there is more or less like a ceasefire in that particular region. Aside from the ceasefire which is in that particular region, you can actually see that oil tumbled as yields rise. So in as well as oil did tumbled, you can actually see a sharp decline in oil, and as yields rose up, this actually did strengthened the dollar a bit, and in as much as it strengthened the dollar a bit, it did implemented what we had for US 100. So for today on US 100, you might want to enter for a buy at price level 15966.40. 15966.40. 15966.40. Then you can take your profit at 15989.26. 15989.26. 15989.26. Then alternatively, you can enter for a sell at current market price. Enter for a sell at current market price while you take your profit at 15929.97. Enter for a sell at current market price and take your profit at 15929.97. 15929.97. For US 2000, I'll be using the same fundamentals for it, just to check what we have technically. So for US 2000, enter for an instant sell also for US 2000. Enter for an instant sell while you take your profit around 1810.9. 1810.9. 1810.9. Then you can actually take your profit. Sorry, enter for an instant sell, then you take your profit at 1810.9. Then alternatively, for a buy on US 2000, you can enter for a buy at price level 1813.8, 1813.8, 1813.8. Then you take your profit at price level 1815.6, 1815.6, 1815.6. Then lastly, on US 30, US 30. For US 30, so for US 30, you can enter, let me look at US 30 on a smaller time frame. So for US 30, you can enter for a buy if price trades at 36063. Enter for a buy at 36063. 36063. Take your profit at 36090. 36090. 36090. 36090. Then alternatively, for a sell, enter for a sell. That is if price breaks below what we have at 36008. 36008. 36008. Then you take your profit at price level 35979. 35979. So for US 100, somebody asking for the repeat. The repeat of US 100. Enter for an instant sell. Enter for an instant sell and take your profit at price level 15929.97. 15929.97. Then for a buy, enter for a buy at 15966.40. 15966.40. Then take your profit at 15989.26. Lastly for today, we're actually behind time. Lastly for today, somebody has been asking for US 500. So for US 500, standing on the same fundamentals which actually did ruled them, you can enter for a buy. Enter for a buy at price level 4574.1. 4574.1. 4574.1. Then you take your profit at 4576 0.6. 4574.1, take your profit at 4576.6. Alternatively, enter for a sell at 4570.8. 4570.8, then take your profit at 4568.2. 4570.8, then take your profit at 4568.2. All right, so that's the end of money market review for today. In case you're having any issues, kindly reach out to your account officer. Somebody said on the chat while I was reading that he has a bad position on DE30. Kindly reach out to your account officer, or you send the screenshot to your account officer so that they can actually guide you accordingly. Thank you for your time, and do have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.